So John, one of the things that we had kind of pop up new this year that we never had before was, this COVID-19 pay.
Mm-hmm.
Employees are allowed to do 80 hours of this COVID-19 pay, which we track separately, and then we get paid back from some source that I don't know what it is. So that would be essentially a type of leave, like a type of sick leave
Mm-hmm.
that we would need to create and track.
Yep. When somebody takes time on that, do you require them to provide any other information, or is it just they assign time to that on their timesheet?
Well, so in this particular instance, we would just need to know whether it's for employee, like your kids can't go to school, and so you got to do childcare, or whether you actually do have COVID-19 or something like that. You know what I mean? It's kind of broken into two, whether it's your personal or whether it's like a family.
Okay. So in that case, probably the best way to enter that information would be to create two new straight entry types. Call one of them COVID-19 personal and one of them COVID-19 family or COVID-19 other.
Okay.
And then that would appear, you'd add that to the timesheet categories, and then you'd add that to everyone's timesheet template, or you could leave it off the template. I'll talk about templates in a bit. That just defines whether categories show up by default or not.
All right, but there would be a way that myself or Barry would be able to enter this in there, and it would automatically show up on people's timesheets.
Yep.
From then on, because like for instance with this, it was like March 15th through, December 31st or something like that. That time can only be used within then, and so we need to have a way to turn it on and then turn it back off.
Yep. So right now I would go ahead and add those. Make that a straight entry. Doesn't map to the primer. For payroll timesheet consideration, it's considered sick time or sick leave.
No, actually, it's considered.
Yeah, so it's more like
COVID-19.
bereavement time or something, where bereavement time is tracked separately than sick time.
Okay.
I mean, so it is kind of like sick time, but it doesn't count against their sick time, and the HR people or the auditor doesn't count it as sick time. It's this different new kind of sick time that only exists this year.
Cool. So we would go into payroll timesheet categories, and I got to create a new one of those because these are kind of our standard payroll timesheet categories. So I can create a new one. We'll call it COVID P for personal. Actually, it's all going to show up under one probably. Call that COVID-19 time off. And then back on here, I'll just refresh this page. And then in here, I can map that to that new category.
And again, myself or Barry would be able to do this in the future, correct?
Yep. These are all your screens, basically. I'm not logged in with any special permissions here. I'm just logged in as a county staff with admin privileges. So that's kind of step one. So we'd add another one, which would be COVID-19. I don't necessarily want to call it family because it's not necessarily family.
Or childcare.
It's also straight tracking. It also maps to COVID-19 time off. So now I've got the timesheet categories there, and they're available because they're active, but no one's going to see them right away. If I go to my timesheet, I'm not going to see those just yet. So two things have to happen. First, I have to go to my configuration screen for timesheet templates. Okay, so by default, when you go to a new payroll period on your timesheet screen, right, it generates your timesheet for you for that payroll period and saves it to the database. So every time I jump back and forward in here, it's actually creating all the records for what's on the screen here. And which categories I see depend on which timesheet template I use. And we've got two timesheet templates that are set up by default. one for administration, one for staff. And if I look at admin, it's got holiday, vacation, sick, and clerical direct, because a typical admin person doesn't need all of these other categories. But if I look at the staff timesheet, it's got, pretty much everything on it except these new categories that I just created. So I want to add those into my categories, and I'm going to move those on. And situate them up here with right under our generic administration categories. Okay, so now I've added those to the template for all the people who are using the staff timesheet template. But if I go back to my timesheet and refresh it, they're not going to appear immediately because this timesheet already existed in the database. So I'd already, visited this page and started this timesheet. If I jump forward to a timesheet that I haven't used yet, then you'll see they appear. So for any future timesheet, those are going to automatically appear on my time card. So to remedy the situation right now, I can go down here and you'll see an add timesheet row. And here are the categories that are available to me that are not on my time card. So I can add the two of those. And now I've got them on my time card for this week, for this payroll period as well. So that's, as an example, there's a new category that's something you needed to do. And then at some point in the future, when that timesheet category is no longer to be used, you'll just go back to that configuration screen and you can just disable those two.